Asteroid City was written and directed by Wes Anderson. Just saying that name in front of this movie's title, that should tell you what kind of movie you're going to get stylistically. And this movie has like a bajillion A-list actors that I'm going to list all of them in the description box below. There's just too many to name right now. But this is anchored by Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, and Tom Hanks, just to name a few. World-changing events spectacularly disrupt the itinerary of a junior stargazer/space cadet convention in the tidal American desert town circa 1955. And that's as vague as I can get about this movie, but there's a lot underneath the surface. Golly, I mean, just the fact that there's like so much happening in this thing, that can be really, really cool, but it can also work against certain movies in certain cases. And unfortunately, I think Asteroid City might be one of those. First things first, stylistically speaking, this is a Wes Anderson movie, so it's going to look really good. The color palette is super appealing. The cinematography is obviously going to be pristine. And I love that Wes Anderson can make direction almost look simple. This is a director that doesn't really have a whole bunch of tricks up his sleeve. It almost feels very bare bones in a sense in the way he conducts his direction. Very minimal turns and very minimal blocking. The framing and the choreography of his actors is very easy. And it's a nice movie to look at. I think all the performances in this movie from everybody involved are solid. Tom Hanks, I think, may be the greatest actor of all time. He turns in some really nice work as the grandfather of these three young girls. And, oh man, it makes me feel old, honestly, thinking about Tom Hanks playing a grandpa. Scarlett Johansson turns in some pretty solid work. Jason Schwartzman basically plays our leading character. He's really solid with what he's given. And I stress with what he's given, because I honestly am sitting here after sitting through Asteroid City, and I don't know what the he was given. Matter of fact, I'm not even really sure what I just watched. Wes Anderson is a director that can give you instant classic movies like Fantastic Mr. Fox, one of my favorite animated movies of all time. And then you can get stinkers like The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Yeah, I know that might be a controversial take. I don't like that movie at all. And I really didn't think Wes Anderson could sink any lower than Steve Zissou. But he might have done it with Asteroid City, man, because my god, this movie is so boring. Which is insane me saying that, because this movie has a lot going on. There is a fantastic stop motion sequence that I dare not give away. If you watch Asteroid City, or if you've seen Asteroid City, you'll know exactly what scene I'm talking about. But I think what it all boils down to is this, my friends. Asteroid City is essentially a play within a movie, and it's like, it's breaking all these boundaries. And Wes Anderson is taking a very courageous approach to this type of story, but I just don't think it works. And in the grand scheme of things, all these characters that we're introduced to on both sides of the narrative, I couldn't really get into any single one of them. Sure, you have some Wes Anderson dark comedic moments that don't exactly hit as well as other movies. And sure, you have this really immaculate cinematography and excellent color palettes. But you get that in pretty much every other Wes Anderson movie. The only glaring thing about Asteroid City that I'm sitting here telling you right now as a critic, this is something that really should have been special. The most glaring thing about Asteroid City is what could have been. Because the thing that they don't advertise in those really bizarre trailers, they don't tell you that there's a whole other story element involving Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Adrien Brody, Willem Dafoe, really talented people. And not to mention Jeff Goldblum for all of about 10 seconds. And when the movie is focusing on those elements with Bryan Cranston, who just recently retired, might I add, I have so much respect for him, and I'm just going to cherish every new moment I have on screen with him. But it cuts away from the action in Asteroid City itself, and it cuts to this behind-the-scenes story with Edward Norton and Adrien Brody, etc. And I was like, yes, more of this, please. This is the kind of movie that I was wanting out of a play within a play and all that jazz. Think back to movies like Birdman that came out in 2014. Won Best Picture. Absolute masterpiece in my book. And you know I don't toss around that term lightly. 9 years later, Birdman still holds up. Yes, Birdman is very weird in concept, but it at least feels like there's a cohesive beginning, middle, and end. and you can get behind every single one of these characters. Asteroid City tells you that there's a 3-act structure in place of title cards, but people going to film familiar with the 3-act structure shouldn't be told when these acts are starting and finishing. This movie's structuring just freaking, like, it baffles me. Like, Asteroid City itself was the boring part. Like, I wanted Wes Anderson to take a deep dive into, like, the behind-the-scenes aspect of film and plays and putting it all together. Because as someone who does theater, that stuff can be really interesting and really captivating. And you can get into a lot of juicy drama behind the scenes. And Wes Anderson decides to focus on the stuff that goes on the stage. It was a really, really baffling choice, and it made the movie, unfortunately, pretty damn boring. Now, granted, I'm sure there's a lot of people that absolutely adore this film, and more power to you. I never envision myself rewatching Asteroid City ever again. Maybe some of you down in the comments might go, oh, Zach, that was just one viewing. I'm sure people have theories on what this movie could possibly mean and what Wes Anderson is trying to say about the industry and what have you. But I'm sorry, I can't really deep dive into a movie if I'm not overly invested in what's going on in front of me. Because aside from stellar cinematography and solid performances, all of which are present in Wes Anderson's other flicks preceding this, Asteroid City unfortunately doesn't have much else to offer you guys. I'm gonna give Asteroid City a D+. I know that grade might be disappointing for a lot of you, but this is just how I freaking feel. And you know what? You guys don't have to agree with me either. That's what's so fun about film discussion, guys. I mean, different strokes for different folks. Let me know what you thought of Asteroid City down in the comments section below. Is this your favorite Wes Anderson flick? Is it something else like Darjeeling Limited, Grand Budapest Hotel? Let me know all that jazz down in the comments section. As always, I love making these videos, and I love discussing all new things in movies with you guys. And getting to interact with you lovely people makes things all the better for me. If you're new, do consider becoming a subscriber, and please tap that like button as well. Really helps to continue grow this awesome community that we've already built together. Guys, y'all are the best. Stay tuned for more videos very, very soon. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.